So I'm not going to do anything fancy with this opening. It's literally just me talking about the news that has been presented at NAB. It's a huge event for filmmakers and stuff, and there's so many items that I just want to talk about. Not a lot of structure to this video, just me talking about the news. So if you don't care, then you don't care. You can move on with your day, just, whatever. But there is some really cool announcements from NAB. Unfortunately, I was not there. I will be using footage and photos from other YouTubers. Those people have actually gone to NAB, and it's fantastic. If you like me, you're probably going to like all those other filmmaker YouTubers that are all about tech and stuff like that. So definitely check those guys out. Links in the description below. But the first thing on the list is Aputure. Aputure has released, or at least announced, a lot of different things. The one that I'm most excited about, or at least seeing, is the 120D Mark II. Now, I personally own a 120D, and it has been a fantastic light. But at NAB, they showed that they have made significant improvements to it. Mainly, and this is the biggest thing for me, is turning the 2 power bricks into just 1 power brick, which I was kind of confused why that was that case to begin with. But yeah, now the controller and the power brick are the same thing, which is absolutely fantastic. I love that thing. I don't think it's worth upgrading to, unless that's like that 1 power brick thing is really, really, really important to you. But yeah, no, it's just cool. They also have a couple of new mounts. They also have the barn doors, which is really, really helpful for people who tend to use barn doors more. I am happy they have released it. I don't know why they haven't released it sooner, but yeah, yay, new Bowens mount barn doors. Also, they have a better light dome. I also own the light dome, if you saw that from the last video. It's just a better light dome. Nothing's really changed. I think it's going to be faster to set up. That's one of my complaints with the original, the light dome that I have, is that I refuse to set it, break it apart unless I have to go somewhere. There's the noise goes. Now I don't have to yell. But basically, I am incredibly happy that the light dome is basically getting some improvements. Which, by the way, they also released a new RGB light. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I really, really like RGB lighting. But it wasn't just Aputure. It was all sorts of companies releasing RGB lights. And I really hope this starts trickling down into more affordable markets, because Aputure is definitely going to be releasing something, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be $1,000 and up. And because of all these other lights that also have RGB elements in it, the light panels, these huge-ass light panels, we're not getting any of the smaller RGB lights being put out there. And I really hope that this technology trickles down a bit more, because I have my RGB lights, but they're really cheap, and not a lot of people know about them. I really, really wish they weren't just limited to these big-ass light panels. And sure, they're battery-powered, but they're mostly for studio environments, and I can't see myself really using them as much as any other light outside of a studio. So that has been bugging me. But yeah, I'm really excited about the new RGB lights development. I hope there's more, and I really hope that, again, we get some more, like Luxley releasing more RGB lights, or Youngno releasing more RGB lights, or maybe Aputure even dabbling into making their smaller light kits have RGB in them. There's also, and now we get to move on to some other things, like the recorders. So there was something that made me super duper excited, the announcement of ProRes RAW. Now, I have not shot in ProRes RAW. Only a few select people have probably shot in ProRes RAW. But this seems like something perfect for someone like me. I use C100 and I use an Atomos recorder, and I shoot in ProRes. But basically what ProRes RAW is just a better ProRes. And I'm 100% sure this is going to make it into the main workflow of a lot of TV productions, or even a lot of smaller short films, or even YouTube, because the RAW format is just absolutely impossible to work with. But if you can get approximately the same amount of sharpness, and not necessarily the huge depth of color information, although you are getting a lot of it, that is going to cut down on work time so much for a lot of big YouTubers. So I feel like this is a feature that's going to be definitely bigger in the lower end market than in the higher end market. But I still think that it's a crazy, crazy powerful codec. I just wish I could get my hands on it so I could experience it. But one of the ways you can get your hands on that sort of format is by buying the Atomos Ninja 5-inch, or Atomos Ninja 5. And I use an Atomos recorder. I'm using one right now. It's just, they're so convenient, and I'm so happy that they're finally releasing a 4K monitor that is also quite small. Because of my run and gun workflow for a lot of jobs, I really do need smaller monitors. I can't be going out there and buying a Flame, although I'm probably going to buy one. But for work, I would never use it unless it was for a talking head scene or interviews and stuff. I need something that's smaller and more portable. Also, the SSDs that it's introduced are also a lot better. So hopefully that's going to be very interesting, and I just want to see more of it. I am really excited for it, and I'm definitely pre-ordering it as soon as I have the money for it. There's also some other monitors. SmallHD had a couple of new announcements, and I'm not the biggest fan of SmallHD, mostly because they are not recorders. I don't see myself, because Atomos has already had the whole monitor and recorder thing down, I do not see myself ever using something like the SmallHD, but I can't see it useful for a lot of people. I appreciate the swivel mount. I appreciate the fact that I don't have to use a magic arm to make it work. And now I get to move on to cameras, and there are a lot of cameras to cover. So one of the things is the Blackmagic cinema camera. Now, the Blackmagic cinema cameras, I've always had a very complicated relationship with, and the pocket camera is basically no different. The pocket camera seems to not be any different than any of the other cameras, which are basically having a load of features that are not common in the lower end market. It's given to you at an affordable price in a really odd form factor. It basically is what Blackmagic does. It looks the same. Oh, just ignore the wire. Ignore the wire. But basically, you see this, and it's really dumb. I think that the Blackmagic cameras look really dumb, and I think that I've never really wanted one, except maybe for the Ursa. Because Ursa is a big-ass camera, but I don't see myself using these, and I don't know how much the pocket camera is going to change the game. We already have Micro Four Thirds cameras like the GH5 that bring all these amazing features already, and it's already pretty okay in terms of price. I mean, this is going, I think, for $1,000-something or a little bit more, but not over the 2,000 threshold, which is good. But I don't think that this is going to blow up the market. I think a lot of people are going to look into it as a Blackmagic camera, and if you've always liked Blackmagic, then you probably will be very happy that this is announced. But I do not see myself using it, mostly because it seems like it's going to consume a lot of power. I do not want it to become like the other pocket camera, where you just have to dump batteries into it constantly. That is never a good idea, I think, for a camera that you're trying to sell for its portability. I think putting all these features in is a really, really good idea, but I just have to wait and see. I don't see a lot of people buying this, especially when the Panasonic GH5 and the GH5S is already out. But, you know, a camera that wasn't very disappointing was the Kinefinity. Kinefinity is a kind of newish brand. I think they've been along for a lot longer than I've known them. But Philip Bloom did his review on the 4K camera, and now they have the 6K camera. The 6K camera I'm crazy excited about. I definitely want to see what people do with this camera. It's basically like a budget red cinema camera. I just want to see more from this company. I want to see more attachments. I want to see more things. I want to see more people use it. I want to see people get more excited about it. And them releasing a 6K option and a 4K option at very affordable prices is definitely going to change some minds for some people. Although, again, I have to say this, not the biggest fan of its form factor. I'm not a red camera user. The reason why I have the C100 is because of its form factor. It's small enough for me to carry around basically everywhere, but it's not big enough that but it's just big enough for me to use them more in a studio environment. That's why I like the C100. Also, lawnmower, so that's fun. But yeah, no, I'm very excited about that. And now, finally, there is also, in terms of cameras, there is the C700. Now, I am a big fan of Canon, huge fan of Canon, and recently they announced the full-frame camera. And how do I feel about this? The C700 is not a camera for me. I'm never going to afford it. I'm probably never going to buy it. I'm probably just going to be perfectly fine using a C300 Mark II if I ever had the chance to use a proper cinema camera. But the C700 moving to full frame and seeing red move to full frame and all these other lenses moving to full frame, is exciting, because I feel like the industry was stuck at Super 35 as the film standard, while photography has been using full frame, medium format, and advancing those formats for years now. So I don't know why Super 35 was so stuck, but I'm happy to see them actually explore using full frame as a legitimate film tool instead of sticking to the good old Super 35. And because more lenses are coming out with the with full frame glass, it means that these are incredibly more viable to use, and you're not wasting that space. And this just means sharper images. And that's about it. I don't think it's going to change a lot for the C700. I'm pretty sure if you've used the C700, you probably don't own it. I don't assume that you own it. I can't imagine anyone really using it that much, but the full frame option is definitely something to look out for. This is less of a representation of the camera getting better and more of where the industry is going. And hopefully full frame just becomes the standard format. Although I do have to say that in comparison to full frame from Super 35 compared to Micro Four Thirds and onwards, it's not the biggest leap. But whatever, you know? Again, super cool to see that being announced. Hopefully I get to see some footage from that full frame camera coming out soon. Also, just closing this out, there were a bunch of lenses and other various things that were announced, and those are not necessarily something I'm super excited about. I know this video has basically been like things I'm not super excited about, but we have to. I just have to wonder, like, with all these cinema lenses coming out, how many people are buying them, how many people are affording them on a lower scale. Because I'm perfectly fine with the Rokinon lenses. It doesn't seem like anybody's really competing with each other with these lenses in terms of pricing and stuff. And I guess I just don't care. Like, I'm not super excited about these new lenses, mostly because I haven't seen a whole lot of them. But like SLR Magic releasing new cinema lenses, cool, fine, whatever. They're not for EF. I don't care. I haven't seen anything really new from Rokinon though, which was very disappointing. But yeah, no. Hopefully, more cine lenses become a bit more exciting. Like there's an anamorphic lens that had zoom at a constant T 4.4. I don't know what that means. I'm not experienced enough for it, but hopefully it's exciting for somebody out there. There's also a lot of other things like jibs, probably audio gear. There was DJI also announced some really cool gimbal stuff. Something I cannot afford that. I cannot afford that basically at all. So that doesn't really matter to me in the slightest. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff in there that I'm just gonna gloss over. Doesn't really matter. I know this has been sort of a put together video, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on a lot of these really, really cool things that were announced. And I really can't wait until I get to go to one of these. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed kind of my like hot take on this. And I will see you guys in a new review coming out probably whenever I feel like it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.